Good morning, CIC. How are you? Did you enjoy the video? Yeah. Is anybody here who walks like worse than that? So I'm sorry. I mean, if you do, sorry. Okay. We are in a series called Stapled as a Disciple, and today is the last part of the series. We've been talking about discipleship. What is disciple of Jesus Christ, gotta look like. And we've been following the stories from Luke chapter 9, and because there are some interactions between disciples and Jesus, and it's been so much fun, at least for me, to go through this series and talk about disciples. And today is, like I said, is the last part of the series, and I want you to go to today's passage, which is Gospel of Luke, chapter 9, verse 28 to 36. It's on the screen. It's in your bulletin, and it's in the Bible too. I'll read the passage to you, so please listen. About 8 days after Jesus said this, he took Peter, John, and James with him and went up unto a mountain to pray. As he was praying, the appearance of his face changed, and his clothes became as bright as flash of lightning. Two men, Moses and Elijah, appeared in glorious splendor, talking with Jesus. They spoke about his departure, which he was about to bring to fulfillment at Jerusalem. Peter and his companions were very sleepy, but when they became fully awake, they saw his glory and the two men standing with him. As the men were leaving Jesus, Peter said to him, "Master, it is good for us to be here. Let us put up 3 shelters, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." He did not know what he was saying. While he was speaking, a cloud appeared and covered them, and they were afraid as they entered the cloud. A voice came from the cloud saying, "This is my son, whom I have chosen. Listen to him." When the voice had spoken, they found that Jesus was alone. The disciples kept this to themselves and did not tell anyone at that time what they had seen. Not long ago, I saw a very interesting news article, and I thought it was hilarious. And we do have many students here too, so I think you're going to enjoy this too. Okay. The title of the news article was "Students are discovered with a 12-foot-long cheat note for nuclear physics exam in Russia." And this is the photo. A group of Russian students have taken cheating to a new level after a university professor discovered what is believed to be the world's biggest cheat note. The students prepared a note on a 12.1-foot-long roll of wallpaper ahead of their nuclear physics exam. It was discovered in the city of Voronezh. It's a Russian name, so maybe I don't really say it right. In southwestern Russia, Voronezh Oblast region. Pictures of the roll were posted on social media where they quickly went viral. The giant cheat note included detailed answers to 35 questions on nuclear physics that lecturer had warned students to expect. However, it is unclear. It is unclear. I'm sorry. Unclear, not nuclear. Ooh, but they look very similar. And you see, okay. It is. I'm sorry. However, it is nuclear. How the students? Unclear. Sorry. How the students ever expected to be able to use the cheat note without being spotted? Obviously, by moderators in the physics faculty of Voronezh State University. The photographers show how students holding the rolled out cheat note, which they say took a week to prepare, while the professor who caught them looks on in amazement. The student and the professor were not named in reports. Images posted alongside the caption, the professor told, I don't have to read that. Anyway, okay, that's the end of the news article. Do you see that? It's huge, right? I mean, I believe that they were like working hard. They were not really sure about the exam, so they did their best to make sure they have enough material on the cheat note. And then later they, I think, realized that it's too huge. So they were trying to figure out how to use that. Anyway, I thought it was just funny. And you probably all think the same thing right now. With that energy they spend, with that time they spend to prepare that cheat note, what they had to do with all that. Study, that's right, right? But with all that energy, with all that time, they decided to actually invest all that to make a cheat note. And I believe just from preparing that, I think they studied bunch already. Don't you think so? Yeah. But why they even made that choice instead of studying with all the time, with all that energy, and preparing the cheat note like that? Because I think there is a belief they have, which is result, outcome matters way, way, way more than process. You see, outcome, the result matters way, way, way more than process. I mean, if you think about it, our life kind of works like that too. We do say that we appreciate, we do, believe the importance of process, but we all know and we all do care more about the outcome. That's why these students came up with this hilarious idea about making that huge cheat note, because they were not really sure if the process is good enough to have a good result. But like I said, we have a same pattern in our lives too. Result, outcome matters. If you look at today's story, you all know, I mean, if you've been to church long enough, you know this story. Jesus took three of his disciples to mountain so that they can pray. And they were like sleep. The disciples like fell asleep, and they're like half asleep, half awake. And then they realized that Jesus was talking, and he was in totally different color. If you look at today's passage, it says, verse 29. As he was praying, the appearance of his face changed. Appearance of my face changes sometimes, but usually it goes worse. But this time, it's a totally different story. His clothes became as bright as flash of lightning. And it's just not a changing of color or fashion. It actually says two men, Moses and Elijah. They were not supposed to be there. They were dead long ago. But they're there. Moses and Elijah appeared in glorious splendor. Glorious splendor. We don't use this phrase much in our everyday life, right? You don't go like, hey, honey, you look great. You are in a glorious splendor. You don't say that, right? This is like something you only hear from Bible. And whenever Bible uses this kind of expression, it means actually awesome, right? It's like wow kind of expression. Glorious splendor. Maybe you can use that tonight, I don't know, with your spouse. Glorious splendor. Dinner looks glorious splendor. And they're talking with Jesus. And Peter and his companions were very sleepy. But when they became fully awake, verse 32, he saw his glory and two men standing with him. And Peter goes, Master, it is good for us to be here. And we can actually see that Peter is very happy. He's excited to this amazing scene here, right? Because we do care about, like things look great. Whenever we, come up with the idea about like what should we do? What do we like? I don't know, any event, or we do something, some sort of any job, and we do care about what it looks like, and we want to make sure in the end we want this thing, whatever we do, to look fabulous. That's why whenever you go a date, you don't go out there with your sweatpants. I don't know, maybe some of you did that. But you don't do it. You want to make sure you look good, right? You want to make sure everything looks good in your life. And here, if you look at today's story, like Jesus is in his like super fashion now. So glorious splendor type of scene is happening. And it's so good. And Peter is so excited. And he's saying, it is so good, Master. He rarely says this. He says, so good. Jesus, finally, you're being Jesus. Wow, this is awesome. And he's saying, let's build a shelter here. One for you, one for Elijah, and one for Moses. This is the place where we gotta stay. But if you think about it, we've been talking about discipleship this month of April. And when you hear the word disciple, I don't know what kind of thing comes to your mind. But my case, when I was like younger, I've been in church long enough, and whenever I hear the word disciple, I had this image of like the worship leader we have doing like rock music, worshiping. Light is awesome, and we do our worship so awesome. Like everything looks so fabulous, and the amazing preacher comes out. He just preaches his heart out, and we all go like, "Yes, Jesus! Yes, Jesus!" And everything in that image look just awesome and so good and fabulous, glorious splendor. But we don't really think of like everyday little moments in our life when we hear like disciple. It's more like that sounds so like tiny and little. Disciple, when you hear it, like gotta be awesome, just beautiful, all that. But if you look at today's story, same thing happened here. Peter is so just impressed. Oh, this is it. This is something we've been waiting for. We're gonna build shelters here. We're gonna stay here. We stay here. We don't come down there. We stay here in this mountain. This is it. But Jesus actually doesn't stay there. He actually says, "Yeah, enough scene. Yeah, that's all good." And then all those the Moses, Elijah, and color thing, they all go away. And in the end, it actually says, 36, when the voice had spoken, they found Jesus was alone. Everything's gone. And then the disciples stay quiet. And verse 37, I didn't really put it in the today's bulletin. It actually says they all came down from the mountain. All this fabulous thing was over. Why? Why? Because when we talk about discipleship, what is it really like to be a follower of Christ? It is true, we love like awesome music, awesome preaching, that super feeling. But it is more about little part of our life, everyday life thing. When I was in States, I went over to States, U.S. After I finished my junior high here, and I lived in Washington State, Seattle, for many years since we moved there. My family moved there. And while we were there, whenever my dad's friends coming over to visit us, or our relatives coming over, or I don't know, anybody comes over to visit us, there are some, a few places that we kind of take them to as attractions, so they can they can take a photo there and stuff. And one of the places that we usually take people to is, I don't know if you know this place, there's a little tiny kind of coffee chain called Starbucks. It's like, I don't think this chain just came from little, I don't know, like a fisherman's association or something, because it has a little mermaid, green mermaid. Anyway. Somehow we do have, in Seattle, we do have a very first Starbucks there. And whenever we do have a guest coming over to visit us, that's one of the few places we actually take them to, so that they can take a photo and stuff. And the funny thing is, how many of you have actually been to the very first Starbucks before? I mean, yeah, a few of you, right? If you actually go there, it's so crowded. Like so many people are there, and it actually looks like fabulous, glorious splendor. It looks like this. I mean, I know it looks very old, but if you go there, it's awesome. But the thing is, whenever we take any friends of my dad, any relatives, any guests we have over there, they go there with a very high expectation. Oh, the very first Starbucks, wow! And they go into the store, and what they do is they obviously, there's not much you can do. What you do over there is you just purchase a drink. Okay, they purchase a drink, and they taste the drink they purchase. And then I always see big disappointment from them. They're like, "Oh, very first Starbucks," and then they take a first sip, and then they go like, "This is it? This is it?" And they always say the same thing. It tastes same. It tastes the same as any of this coffee that I can buy from any local Starbucks that I can go near my home. And their high expectation just goes away. Obviously, you know why? Because even if you, I don't know, I mean, some of you actually been there before. If you go there, amazingly enough, Starbucks drinks there taste same. They taste same. And they in a big disappointment. They were saying like, why did you bring me here even? You know, well, there's no point in me being here. It just tastes same. We were expecting like better taste. I don't know, higher, super special, unusual taste here. But it tastes same. Because I don't know if you're familiar with this. In Korean culture, there's a label called wonjo. It actually means original. So whenever you go to any restaurant that's original, wonjo, then that place actually means, and the label means that they have unusually better taste. So any Korean guests we had over there, they had the same expectation. They always get into disappointment. But right after that, I always say same thing to them. You know what? You got to realize this. It is actually amazing for them to have same taste anywhere you go. But you know what? When we come up with this idea of discipleship, we want something special. We want something unusual. You want something special and unusual happen in your life. Like, oh, Jesus, I want to experience something fabulous, glorious splendor in my life. Just perform some miracles in my life. I want to see them. I want my disciple life to be real. But the thing is, maybe discipleship is more about taste same. The very first Starbucks tastes the same as any local Starbucks you can go nearby your place, your home. But discipleship is like that. The very first one we are learning from our Lord Jesus Christ. We gotta taste same. We gotta look same. We gotta live same as He did. That discipleship is more about that. Tasting same. Tasting same. That's why Jesus is saying, you know what? Yeah, enough glorious splendor. Let's go down. Let's go down. Let's go down to everyday life. And He's meeting with the sick people again and again. Everyday life. And there's one other reason He actually had to come down from this mountain. Because He had to actually go climb up a different mountain. Not long after. That mountain was called Calvary. We're thinking we want our Jesus to be just staying in that glorious, splendor, fabulous type of mountain. But Jesus refuses to stay there. He comes down and He actually got to go to a different mountain of Calvary. That's the mountain of pain, not glory. And He's asking us, inviting us to follow Him. Then what is it really discipleship life like? Last year, during the summertime, I took my family to my dad's place, which again in Seattle. And well, my dad's place is not really in Seattle. It's my dad's place is in a city called Lakewood, which is about an hour driving from Seattle, southbound. So one day, I took my mom and my wife and my two kids to Seattle downtown so that they can do some shopping, my wife and my mom. And I was watching my kids, taking my kids to Seattle Center, where Space Needle is. I mean, I'm giving you all the fabulous information about Seattle, but I can see that you're not excited. Seattle is an exciting place. Anyway, and then the only reason that why I took my kids to Seattle Center, where Seattle Needle is, because so that we can give enough time to my mom and my wife to do shopping. Because shopping is always the very first thing, in your life. And we spent enough chunk of time there, and I kind of felt that maybe it is good. Late enough, so that we actually gave enough time for my mom and my wife to do shopping. So we went back to Westlake Center, again another amazing place in Seattle, where my wife and my mom were shopping. And then while I was on the way there, I kind of realized I didn't do anything fun that day. I was doing my labor, just watching kids. And that made me sad. So I just decided maybe I gotta do something exciting, at least one thing today. so then I can leave my mark that day. So I kind of decided to a little trick for my mom because I hadn't seen my mom for many years. So I actually decided to go in there, leave my kids outside and hide them, go in there and tell my mom, Mom, I lost my daughters. Joa and Jenna, they're gone. Can't find them. Did you see them? I decided to do that. And I wanted to see how my mom reacts to that. So I hid my kids. We went into the shopping mall, and there, I don't know, do you know that little big hanger kind of thing that's like circle shape and full of clothes? And whenever you go to like outlet, they have a bunch of those, right? In there, right? So I hid my kids in there and covered them with all the clothes. And then I gave them my cell phone too, just in case. And I went, my mom, she was like shopping hard, just looking out, just enjoying her life, didn't know what's coming. I went over there with my panic face, and they go, Mom, did you see Jenna and Joa? Did you see Jenna and Joa? And she goes like, What? You're with them? I know, but I left them in front of the elevator, but they're gone now. Did you see them? Did you see them? I've been looking for them for 30 minutes. They're gone now. Did you see them? And then my mom was like, with big eyes, like she's like, You lost them? You lost them? You lost my granddaughters? Only good thing you did for me was giving me granddaughters, and you lost them. And then she started yelling so out loud in Korean. He was like, Joa, Jenna, 어딨어? Joa, Jenna, 어딨어? Joa, Jenna, where are you? And she was looking for my wife too. My wife's name is 주연. 주연아! So loud. And I didn't have that in my plan. I didn't know I was gonna be that humiliated near her. So I covered her mouth with my hand and go like, Mom, calm down. But she actually muscled me out. She was like, held my hand and just threw it away. And then she kept yelling again, Gianna, Joa, Jenna, 어딨어? Where are you? So I had to tell her the truth. I was gonna enjoy it a little more, but they just too much humiliation. I'm like, Mom, I was kidding. There, I hid them over there. I'm sorry. I was kidding. I just wanted to see how you react. And then she got so angry. You leave your kids here and you go away. You go back to Korea, never come back. And then on the way back to my dad's place, in the car, I was driving. My mom was sitting right next to me. And we were just talking about that. And then she started crying. I know, I'm a bad son. She started crying. She's like, Sonny, you were not supposed to do that to me. I was so shocked. And she's like, I thought I really lost my granddaughters. Like I said, that's the only good thing you did to me. And then, like, can you do that to me? And then, like, she just kept crying. I felt so bad. And then she became speechless and just kept crying. I felt so bad. I'm like, I couldn't say anything to her again because I said sorry like 1,000 times already. And then she actually lifted her head up, and she said, "Sonny, there's one thing you can actually you can do to me to cover this, to make it even. We're gonna go home, and I'm gonna hide outside. You tell Dad you lost me." So that I can get my payback joy from your dad. At that moment, I was like, now I can see where I got this from. Maybe it flows in the blood that we share together, Mom. Anyway, but let me ask a question. How do people know that we are disciples of Christ? How do they know? So whenever they see that we're coming to church, then they know? Whenever they see that we can kind of we pray in public, they, oh, he prays. He's Christian. No, no, no. Actually, there's only one thing, one way they can actually know that we're Christian. Whenever they say, oh, that's where she actually got this from. Whenever our Christ personality comes out of us, whenever His holiness comes out of us, whenever they can actually see that we're trying so hard to be more like our Lord Jesus Christ, they'll say, oh, we can see where this guy actually got this from. He's a Christian. He's disciple of Christ. It is not about us, about like fabulous worship scene. It's not about like pre-tripping, like awesome preaching. It is more about everyday life. It is not about the outcome we want to see. It is more about the process. Day by day, step by step. So that people can see, hey, we can see where this is actually coming from. He's a Christian. He's a Jesus follower. He's a disciple. Sometimes I do Google our church names. Sometimes, so that I can actually see that, whenever anybody out there wants to come to our church, make sure they get information, in easy way. I Google. As you know, we have 5 different churches, and CIC is one of them. I Google all 5 different churches name, and one day I actually Googled our Seoul church name, and I found a blog, and that was very interesting. When I saw that whole page on the screen, there's one phrase actually I found that looked like this. It's in Korean. It's 개인적으로 존경하는 홍대 가까운 교회 써니 목사님, which means Pastor Sunny from this Hongdae church, which is our Seoul church, I personally admire and respect highly. Let me say this again. Pastor Sunny, whom I respect highly and admire deep inside of my heart. That phrase is coming in my sight from the blog that I found. I think this person doesn't come to our church. This person, I think we do put our sermons online, and we do air our sermons via a radio station, FEBC radio station too. I think this person sees our sermon regularly via either radio station or our online. Anyway, so I found it. So I was thinking, yeah, that's me. Pastor Sunny, person who doesn't even come to our church, still respects, admires highly. You see, that's the pastor you were seeing right now. AKA rockstar pastor. Okay? Yeah, Jesus! Superstar here. And then the whole blog scene actually coming to my site. That was just one small portion of it. See me the next part. It actually, the sentence, 개인적으로 존경하는 홍경 학과 목사님 자꾸 매칭되는 그런 비글이었습니다. There's one, translating that, there's one beagle as a kind of dog, right? That reminds me of Pastor Sunny, who I highly admire and respect. And then I see the bigger picture in the blog. This person actually owns the pet shop, and he actually, I don't know, it's he or she, this person names one of his dogs, Beagle, after me. Since he admired me so highly. And I was like, oh, what kind of dog is it? It's Beagle, right? You all know what Beagle is, right? It's like a small dog that looks handsome and very holy. And then this person put up the photo of the dog too. It looked like this. This person doesn't even come to our church, but listens to our sermon on a regular basis, and then admires and respects me highly. Names a dog after me. I don't know. Does this dog look like me? Yeah? So, again, this experience humbled me enough. Yeah. Well, let me just emphasize one more point before I close the message. You know, we are called a Christian, right? You all know that, right? We're called Christian. We all called Christians, and he's called Christian too. But you know that the label that we have, Christian, has some sort of name in there, right? Right? What is it? Christ. 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 What does it mean? We've been talking about life of a disciple throughout the month of April. And we can come up with all different ideas of becoming a disciple. Wow, reading Bible every day, pray every day. Yeah, it's all good. But just before we go to that complicated part, I think there's one simple point we got to remember: to live as a disciple of Christ. Just one thing. Christian. It has our Lord's name. It's not really his last name, but still, like that little dog has my name. That dog will live holy life because it's got my name. I don't know about that dog, but we as Christians, we as his disciple, I think the very first question we got to ask every morning when we get up: how are we going to live? Yes, I want to be more like him. I want to be more like him, so that people can say, I can see where this is coming from. He's Christian. Christ is in him, in her. I just pray and hope that we all live that kind of life as his disciples. Like I said, at the beginning of the series, I asked Yongwon to sing for us every Sunday, and he prepared another song for us. And as you listen to the song, maybe you can sing along if you know the song. I want you to just in your heart say prayer. Just have some reflection. Do you really live as a disciple? And look back. Were you expecting just fabulous, glorious splendor outcome kind of in your life as a disciple of Christ? Or do you live moment by moment just to be more like him? So that people can see, I can see where this is coming from. It's Christian. And we need humility for this. So I want you to have this little time of prayer, reflection, as you listen to the song. Please welcome them with big hands.